All right, Ken and Michael, we are back for the special guest interview. We have Ryan Meade today joining us from Dynamicweb. Ryan's going to talk about about himself, about Dynamicweb, about e-commerce, PIM, whole bunch of good stuff. So we're super excited that you're on the podcast, and we appreciate it, Ryan. So how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm doing great. Excited to talk business and also drink a beer. So it's a good time of day to be getting into that. We appreciate you having me, Michael and Ken. Thanks so much.
Nice. What type of beer you got today?
Well, I'm gonna get a little sound effect for the audience here, and I don't know if you could hear me open it up and crack a cold one, but it's actually I was thinking of fall beer, but I don't like fall beers typically. So I got a beer from the mountains of North Carolina, which reminds me of fall. we head to the beach in the summertime, and we head to the mountains in the fall and winter. But it's a Supernova IPA from a little brewery up in Banner Elk, North Carolina, called Kettle Beer Works.
Okay.
Never heard of it. Nice.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's a little local. What's that?
I thought you were gonna go down the pumpkin route when you said it was a fall beer at first.
I can't.
I
I can't do pumpkin spice lattes. I can't do pumpkin beers. I can get into some like Oktoberfest beers, but don't give me the flavored stuff. I can't handle it.
We're right there with you. Although maybe one month we got to try different pumpkin beers. There's got to be one out there that's
No, I don't think so.
No?
I walked right past a whole row of pumpkin beers without even thinking twice.
Seriously, even if they were like really discounted, I'd pass.
So what kind of alcohol percentage you got on that beer? Does it
That's
say?
a great question. 6.2,
Ooh.
which I felt was also a good choice. It's not too big, because I'm, still have some work to do.
So you're down in North Carolina?
Yeah, just north of the Charlotte area, in a little town called Mooresville, North Carolina, also known as Race City, USA. So a lot of the NASCAR teams are actually headquartered out of this area.
Okay. All right. Over on the western side of the state over there.
Yeah.
Have you been to a little town, not to get too far off topic, little town called Blowing Rock?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
Banner
Banner Elk sits up really close actually to Blowing Rock. So we love it up that way.
Yeah, I was up there for a trip. It's a beautiful little town.
Beautiful, especially this time of year. All the leaves are changing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice country. Great place to live.
Absolutely.
Nice. So well, I don't know. How about start off with hearing a little bit about yourself and maybe how you ended up in the e-commerce industry?
Sure. Yeah. So I have one wife and 3 kids. And one dog.
I got one wife.
It's important to make sure we clarify. But no, I've been in the dynamic specific community for like 8 years now. So started with Dynamicweb, just over 8 years ago. This is my first venture into e-commerce. Had come from project management prior to getting into this industry, and knew someone in the industry, and it was a time where there were some transitions going on with the industry that I was in, and had an opportunity to jump over here and started out at Dynamicweb as a project manager, and then moved into doing some solutions architecture, and then moved to customer support, and then partner support, and then sales support. And so I've been a little bit all over in the company, but we love it. We all wear a lot of hats, and I think the journey has actually really helped me to be better with our customer and our partner support, as I have a little bit of hands-on experience with the product itself. So.
Yeah, that's great. Sounds like you're a little bit of like a Swiss Army knife there.
Yeah, my dad would say a jack of all trades, master of none, but I don't know if I claim that or not.
So Renaissance man.
That's it. There you go.
Yeah, nice. So tell us a little bit about Dynamicweb. Of course, we are a Business Central focused area. So a little bit about Dynamicweb and background, and then how it kind of relates to Business Central.
Absolutely. So Dynamicweb started 1999 in Denmark as a content management system. It was built by two gentlemen who are still running the business in Denmark and out of their dorm room at the time, as all great tech stories, right? They either come out of a dorm room or some garage somewhere. But it was started in Denmark, and we added on platforms. Grew our platform, added functionality. So we added e-commerce, we added digital marketing for email marketing functionality, we added product information management over the years. We've grown those all internally, and Dynamicweb was coming around about the same time Navision, and that's also a Denmark product, the precursor to Business Central, and AX or Azokta at the same time too was coming up. And so we had a very early relationship with Dynamics, specifically those products. And so we quickly became a Microsoft certified partner. Over the years, we've grown into becoming a Microsoft Gold partner and have a lot of customers that are in that BC space because of the size of their business, or manufacturing distribution organizations. A lot of B2B, probably about 80% of what we do is B2B. And so it's just really a sweet spot for Business Central. And so now we're on a journey to help customers. We natively integrate to BC. So I think that's interesting as well. And seeing a lot of customers, as I'm sure you guys are, making that migration from Navision over to Business Central. So supporting that roadmap for a lot of folks.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a bunch making the migration. So speaking of Business Central and whatnot, to kind of put you on the spot here a little bit.
Yeah.
Why should somebody who's running Business Central, an organization, let's say, choose Dynamicweb as their e-commerce provider? So what separates you from some of the other big boys out there?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I thought you were going to ask me, why would somebody choose Business Central? I'm so glad that you didn't ask me that, because I was just going to divert the question back to you. No, from an e-commerce perspective, yeah, there's a lot of players out there, right? So the sweet spot for Dynamicweb is we really consider ourselves more than just a shopping cart. So there's a lot of add something to your cart and check out functionality that other providers support. And most definitely Dynamicweb can do that. But where we see a lot of success and a lot of customers that come to us are where they need a little bit more than that, right? They need a little bit more than just simply add to cart and check out. So things like complicated business processes that need to be reflected through a user experience that's consumable by maybe people who are not necessarily tech savvy, or we see a lot of businesses and they're transitioning from one generation of ownership to another generation of ownership. So they're trying to do more online than they ever have before. And they're challenging this concept of, can they even do it online? And so people sometimes think that things are too complicated, but hey, let's take a crack at automating that and bringing some of that to the web. So as examples, we work a lot with configurators. So where products need to be configured. We work with companies that have maybe complex like inventory allocation, for example, like in the horticulture industry, customers that have shipments like the first Tuesday and Thursday of every month and they have to build up based on the inventory allocated to them in BC to what's available on those trucks. They can build up their cart and build up what they call racks, right? And they can see, if I add 2 more plants to this rack, I'll fill it up, and in doing so, I'll get a better shipping rate. People wouldn't normally think about that as an e-commerce solution, right? Because it's a little bit more than adding to your cart and checking out. So rental logic is another good example, being able to see when stuff's available to rent based on lead times and return times and maintenance times and stuff like that that's managed inside the ERP that we can bring a user interface for. And then a lot of self-service. We're seeing a push for this, right? Customers want to be able to do more online. They want to see order statuses. They want to see tracking information. They have a experience as a consumer seeing all that information when they purchase stuff themselves, and they now expect that from the distributors and the manufacturers that they're working with. So self-service functionality, ability to pay invoices online, manage their account online. So a lot of that bringing that functionality to the B2B world.
That's great. Sounds like you're really tailoring to what customers want, and the keyword was what they expect nowadays. Mm-hmm. So that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of times a mismatch, right, between what customers expect right, out of the box, Business Central
Yeah.
has, right, and then what they really need.
Mhm.
And I notice, and we've chatted in the past about, PIM, product information management, and that's something that you guys have. Maybe you can explain just, I know a lot of people, especially, a lot of old NAV businesses, or even, whether they're just distribution or manufacturing companies, a lot of them don't have PIM system. They just have
Mhm.
Business Central, and they just set up an item, and they give it an item number and a description, and maybe they have like a status flag that tells them, what the status of the item is. But why like what's PIM, and why has it become so important for people to consider?
Yeah, great question. And really another way how we set ourselves apart from some of the competition, because a lot of times to get a product information management system, you have to go to a third party that does product information management. Like that's all they do. And in essence, product information management is a tool set to allow customers to really enrich product information, things that you don't want in your ERP, right? And in the past, what we saw was customers, Navision and other Microsoft ERP, they'd really just customize the heck out of their ERP in order to add all these product fields that really have no business doing in there because they're not really serving an ERP purpose, right?
Yeah.
So a product information management system gives users the capability to add enriched product data, maybe even things like styled data with bullet points. Those aren't usually pretty inside an ERP. Things like product assets, images, videos, other digital assets, and gives folks a place to manage all of that information with a nice tool set that's built for it, and then do something with that product information, right? And the things that they're going to do with that product information is put it on their website, or they're going to send it to maybe 2 or 3 websites. Maybe they have a B2B site that gets some of the data, but a B2C site that gets other sets of data, or they're going to push it out to like an Amazon, right? Or a third party marketplace because they're starting to go on this journey of selling direct to consumer. Or they're going to put it in a print catalog, right? They want to download it to an InDesign and make a really pretty print catalog. And a product information management tool really gives customers a tool set to do all of those things in a user-friendly way. And then you have this like now master source of truth for your data. We still get, you mentioned, right, the item number, the product name, status flags, et cetera. We consume that information from Business Central, but then give the users one place then to add all of that other data and manage it. Instead of, we talk to customers all the time. They have hundreds of spreadsheets that are circulating throughout the organization through different departments. And maybe they're on somebody's desktop, maybe they're on, SharePoint, and they're trying to figure out who has the most recent version of this spreadsheet. And God forbid a product should actually be on multiple spreadsheets, and then who knows which is the most up-to-date information. So, right, it eliminates that noise and those inefficiencies.
Do you have any? Yeah. So in the past, we've worked with companies who, wisely understand the benefit of having a really robust e-commerce presence, right, or a website presence. But sometimes they struggle with the, all the work that it takes. I mean, to truly build out all of that data that they, like you said, they've got some of the data is over here in spreadsheets, and some of it's, in some other database, and they're on some old website where you can't really lift stuff off of it really easily.
Yeah.
So from an implementation standpoint, any thoughts or guidance or recommendations like on what companies should think about or consider if they're going to go with like a solution like this, what should they plan for?
Yeah, I'm going to get there. But before I get there,
Okay.
I think what's the most important thing for companies is to start understanding that 62%, some stat in that neighborhood, 62% of customers that sell B2B are already employing some kind of e-commerce or self-service portal. 62%. Okay. Now, the scary number for me in that means 48% are not. So there's this huge gap, and maybe some of the companies that you're talking about have no e-commerce for or self-service function, or very limited. But then following on that, Gartner did a report, and they had stated that 80% of B2B sales interactions are going to, between suppliers and buyers, will occur in digital channels by 2025. 80% of the interactions, right? So the first thing I would tell a company like that is, hey, if you're not investing or considering in your roadmap to invest in having a robust way to handle these online interactions, then you're going to quickly lose market share because customers are expecting it, right? They're moving that direction.
Yeah.
So I'd kind of start with driving a little bit of that just need and what the market's shifting to. And then I would say, yeah, there's definitely some real things to think about in terms of implementation, getting as much of that data available though through tools like a product information management system where you can import bulk data into just as a starting point, right? Or getting it into your ERP so that the data then can be automated and we can set up the integration to cut down on processes. It's amazing to me. I talk to customers all the time that have a website that's selling products, creating orders, but they're not integrated to BC, right? And so maybe they're running a Business Central solution, but they're not integrated in all the manual work that creates to then create the order in BC and then update the order back into the web. And just it's almost like it's a facade of a strong customer experience, but it's tied up with a lot of manual interaction. So I think, I'd dive a little bit deeper to say there is a cost of implementation. There is some lift that is probably going to be happening to get you onto a more robust solution. But what time are you going to save? What money are you going to save? What can people start doing that's really well tailored for people to do and automate the stuff that they don't have to do, right? And so I'd look at some of that return on investment over time.
What from all the customers and people that you deal with, what's the number one thing that holds them back from moving to a better solution? Do you have any idea or any guesses? Is it price? Is it just not knowing? Is it afraid of, what it could be?
That's a great question. I think there's two primary reasons that we see. One is that, short-sightedness on the return on their investment. So the initial price or the ongoing monthly price, and I'm sure you guys see this too as companies are assessing even Business Central, right? Yep. There's a price to have sophisticated solutions, and some customers just really struggle to see the value. I'd say especially some of those that are in that transition of generational ownership. The other piece though that we see a lot is, and again, you guys can probably relate, is customers that try to take systems that were in place, 20 years ago and force a new system to replicate those business processes that once upon a time were driven off of stuff that people did manually, right? And so we try to really work with our customers on, let's revisit, why do you do what you do? Is anybody really looking at that report? Does anybody really have, because if you can replace some of that stuff with more configurable solutions that are automated, you can make a jump. But I'd say that there can be a sticking point in that scenario for folks where they just can't see, the forest through the trees of their old archaic business processes.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Why switch to a better, more robust system only to have it do exactly what you were doing?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it start out that way, but eventually you want something a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, and I think to me on the ROI side, I think about like, okay, let's say you have one salesperson, right, who's out there selling for you, right? What's their annual salary or total earnings per year? Now you have this. Now compare that to an e-commerce site, which is out there selling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? And what's that cost per year?
Yeah,
right, for the revenue that could bring in for you.
Absolutely, especially those customers. Yeah, totally. Especially those customers that are selling some simple stuff online, right? Parts, small products, those things that can be like automate that piece. Turn your sales reps really into folks who are nurturing accounts and who are doing more of the complicated relationship and complicated, sales processes. is a way that we've seen some people shift. And yeah, let attrition take care of, the cost of investment.
So over the last couple of years, would you say there's been a big bump with organizations trying to adopt e-commerce platforms, especially with COVID, or was it just business as usual, nothing different?
No, it's been a huge bump, and we continue to see people driving that way. So even in the middle of like our current economy and some of the struggles that we're seeing, we're continuing to see this push where folks are trying to figure out how to get better margins, right? They're trying to figure out how to overcome supply chain issues and provide better information to their customers so they're in the loop along the way. They're trying to figure out in a labor shortage, and it's hard to find people, right? So especially skilled people for certain industries. And so they're trying to figure out, how do we give our customers the capability to do more? So I think what we saw at COVID, which we did see an increase of just basically getting stuff online, right? We need to do more online. And I think we've seen it continue to grow as a result of some of those other efficiencies that people are looking to pick up. Yeah.
It's almost like people just don't want to talk to people anymore. You know what I mean? Like it used to be, everybody didn't like going to buy a car with the salesperson jumping on you, right?
Yeah.
It's the same way when you buy something else. You just want to buy it and, just get on with it. Why waste?
Well, at your convenience.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Exactly.
Like when
That's
you
totally
have a moment, it's kind of like text messaging, right? Like, yeah, I could pick up the phone and call one of my friends, but to ask them a question.
Yeah.
But
hi, how are you?
I could just text and they'll answer when they have the moment to answer, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, and on the self-service side, right? People are running their businesses. They don't want to have to then also modify their business to work with whatever the hours of operation are for their wholesaler or distributor or their sales or resale, right? They want to get products, their vendors, they want to get stuff at a time that's convenient for them. They want to do their work after dinner, because that's when they're getting around to doing that administrative work. They want to walk the floor and be able to scan some things and add them to their cart instead of having to create a list and then go back to their office. Mobile, that's another big driver, right? We're talking to,
Absolutely.
For example, an arborist organization, and they want their tree techs, right? Guys that are climbing trees, to be able to, on his or her lunch break, to be able to plug in the items that they're going to need while they're out in the field to do some maintenance on their gear, that then they can swing by and pick up from their local store, so they don't have to waste time going to their local store, finding it, putting the order in, et cetera, right? So, and they want to do it from their mobile phone. Like that's different, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's technology for
Now,
you.
if I ever see a guy
Exactly.
hanging in my tree while he's trimming it up with a tablet in his hand,
That's it. We'll put
I'm
a
gonna
mobile
call-
safe, like a
I'm gonna
drive
call him an idiot.
Yeah, so just interesting use cases that we see all the time of how people, especially the folks that are thinking ahead in terms of their digital roadmap, right? They're thinking about how do they compete, heavy competition areas. They're thinking about how do they do more of this online, more of this in a mobile friendly way to get ahead of that curve. Yeah.
Well, I don't have any. I only got some speed round questions left for Ryan. You got any more questions?
Yeah, hit the speed round, man.
All right, so Ryan,
Okay.
This is one of my favorite parts. These are just.
I don't have to take a shot every time I answer a question or anything, right?
No, but that's a pretty good
perfect.
idea.
Yeah. Take that under consideration.
Yes, these questions are pretty much just yes or no. You don't have to put too much thought into them, and they're all over the board. So whenever you're ready, my friend.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, number one: will on-premise software exist in 20 years?
No.
Number two: with All Hallows Eve fast approaching, do you believe the Headless Horseman will make an appearance?
Yes, headless is big.
Number three: should Jeff Bezos be referred to as the father of e-commerce?
I hope not. Maybe.
Number four: by the year 2040, it's estimated that 95% of all purchases will be through e-commerce. In your opinion, is this figure too high?
No way.
All right. And last but definitely not least, will you be dressing up for Halloween at the end of the month?
Yes.
Nice. You don't have to tell us what it is, but
I know.
Good answer.
I don't know what it is, so I'm glad that wasn't part. I figured I could like not confidently answer with a yes, but
yeah.
I likely will be.
Nice.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's been fun. We appreciate you taking the time.
Oh yeah.
We didn't give you too much time, I guess, to drink your beer with all the questions, so we apologize for that.
Yeah,
I
go
got a
enjoy
couple.
it now.
Yeah, I got a couple drinks in. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on, and excited to have conversations with partners like you all and how we can go, help our customers figure out solutions that the problems that they're dealing with every day.
All right. If they want some more information about Dynamicweb, I can't remember. Is it just dynamicweb.com for the website?
Yeah, dynamicwebusa.com, info@dynamicwebusa.com. We're also on all the social platforms, so LinkedIn's a good way to find us as well, for example. And
Great.
yeah,
Or they can reach out to Solution Systems, and we can always get in touch with you as well. So,
absolutely.
all right, my friend, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, you guys. Thanks so much
Yep.
for having me. Have a great day.
All right, you
You
too.
too. Bye.